Raleigh Bikes, is it the end of the road? Raleigh Bikes has survived 2 world wars and flared trousers, and now it's come a cropper with the chopper. Yes, this is Mark and Pete, two blokes with half an opinion. Now, here's our first thought.
When the wheels have come off your business, it's time to take a hike as runners and riders conduct insolvency proceedings and send you on your bike. Well, sadly, we have seen that the iconic Nottingham bike manufacturer Raleigh has begun insolvency proceedings. Yes, the master owner, Accell, based in the Netherlands, that bought Raleigh for $100 million back in 2012, has basically found itself in a situation where business has dissipated. Now, Mr. Pete, when I think of the Raleigh brand and I think of bikes, I think they are so synonymous with the chopper bike. Now, of course, this is an iconic image from the 1970s.
Yeah.
Now, maybe through the turbulence of economy and etc., have they really sort of been a brand that sort of evolved? Is it time for the Raleigh brand to disappear? Or is this going to be a real shame for those who love and enjoy riding bikes?
Well, it's extraordinary, isn't it? Really, my first comment, Mr. Mark, is it's extraordinary that with all the promotion of riding bikes for your health, for the good of the environment, what about the global warming from our lords and masters in the government and the mainstream media? We still find that people don't want to ride their bikes; they want to stay in and listen to podcasts on the internet, which is not a bad thing in itself. Obviously, Mark and Pete's brilliant to listen to, but it's I don't think that riding bikes is quite at the same height that it was for kids anyway, when we were around together in the 70s. Bikes, I mean, I didn't have a chopper bike, the iconic rally bike, but people I knew had them, and there were people on rally bikes. I think even you had a rally bike.
I did.
So,
We'll come
so
on to
you know
that.
they were they. It's an iconic band. It's part of in Britain. It's part of the history. It's part of, you think of going through childhood. You're going to have a rally bike with its special gear change thing, which wasn't on the handlebars. It was between your legs, and it's all very cool, looking like you almost like you were on a laid back motorbike, like a Hell's Angel. It was just brilliant design. But yeah, rally bikes part of the landscape of brands. And the Bible, Proverbs 22, verse 28, it says, "Remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set." A strong call for being a conservative with a small c. You're not changing things unnecessarily, and it'd be a shame to lose this brand. And you asked me, could it be there's a resurgence? Well, one thing English people do love, especially English people, is nostalgia. So a new bit of nostalgia with the rally bikes I mean, I would have thought with good marketing, it could bring a resurgence.
Well, the thing here is that it's steeped in history. Sort of back in the late 1880s, the Raleigh brand was built and created in Nottingham in England. Now, of course, when you think of a manufacturer, you do think of iconic brands. And you mentioned about the chopper bike. I mean, I never actually had the chopper bike, but I did have the drop-down handlebars, the racing bike. And if you think about the surgence of racing on bikes through the years, it's become very, very popular. But I do think that one of the challenges that Raleigh had was that the chopper bike, which was probably one of its most successful brands, definitely was so synonymous with the 1970s. By the time you moved into the 1980s, it was sort of deemed a little bit more of a sort of tarnished brand. What surprises me is that they didn't come up with new options. You mentioned the fact that it looked like a Harley Davidson, which it did. I mean, you think of those sort of iconic films where Harley Davidsons appeared in well-known films. But the fact is that it had an echo of that, and of course, it was very much in vogue then. That's very much what children wanted. But I do think that the sad part about this is that are enough people actually buying bikes today? We're told that the
Mm.
car is damaging for the environment. We should think about localism. Get out there
Well,
on your bike bike and start to sort of exercise. Is it just that maybe other forms of technology have taken over? Children, typically who want bikes for Christmas, maybe
Yeah.
want something else.
Yes, I think that has gone, and also, there's another side to this. This is something else to lay at the door of, lockdowns due to COVID, in that there was reportedly a boom in bike sales, uh, during the COVID years. And then when they were over and, we could, just go and sit in the pub with people or whatever it is we might do. The bike sales went down. It went up during those years, the 2 or 3 years of COVID, and then there was a sudden drop in demand. That's what the industry is reporting. So um, they then you get bike manufacturers really suffering. Now, I think uh, did Accell, I don't know if you
Mhm.
said it, the company
Yes,
that,
that's
yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
And now they bought Raleigh, which, now I think perhaps it was a mistake. Raleigh simply having it as a whole brand being sold, couldn't they have got some other sort of investment? Well, maybe not. So they were bought. It was only 2012, wasn't it? So it wasn't that long ago they ran into those difficulties. Then Accell itself had problems because of this, um, really drop in sales, drop in demand after COVID. So they basically, a bit like, companies that put all their money into internet style things, or those exercise bikes that were popular during the lockdowns. People put too much money into it, but of course lockdowns were not, thankfully, going to last forever. So they then were overexposed in the market, and they just came a cropper. And as I mentioned in the little opening thing about the chopper, but yeah, they so that Rally's fallen foul of that. So I don't think that it's time for it to go. I think it's time for it to make a comeback. I mean, it's really a British brand, of course.
Yes.
It's, even though it's owned by a foreign company. So you could argue that it's time for it to come back to Britain, get a consortium together and buy this brand. Let's get it back. Let's get Britain back on its, not on its feet, but on its two wheels.
Yes, exactly. Well, exactly. You do need 2 feet either way, whether you choose to walk or
True.
cycle. But the fact of the matter is, Richard Morris Woodhead from Sherwood Forest and Paul Eugene Louis Angois were the
Yes.
founders. Yes, he was a French citizen. And of
Oh
course,
dear.
obviously, there was a bit of a connection there, a European connection, dare I say. But either way, when you think about what they created and the longevity of that brand and the highs and lows, as you've already said, it's gone through world wars, and it's seen change. I still think that maybe, to your point, that what we're missing here is the opportunity of bringing it back to Britain, finding a way of coming up with a new design. So maybe listeners, maybe you are an engineer, maybe you are a designer. Well, we would love to hear from you in terms of what do you think to save the brand, and that is our rally cry.